Stay with us. Prime Network brings you the first Goodyear Orange County Marathon. County Marathon. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Goodyear Orange County Marathon. I'm Mike Chamberlain. If you have never seen a televised marathon before, I'll guarantee you by the end of this program, you'll have a newfound appreciation for what true athletes, long-distance marathon runners are. Joining me on the show today, a three-time Olympian, Dwight Stones joins us. And Dwight, I wish we had the time to tell everybody's story. Over 5,000 will toe the line here today. Talk about the course, Dwight.
Well, the course is pretty flat in that it starts at 160 feet in Anaheim and goes down to 45 feet here at UC Irvine. So it's only a 115-foot drop, which is very good for the athletes. Not a lot of ups, not a lot of downs, and both the ups and the downs can be hard on the body in that it's tough on the...
First time I've ever seen it televised on a national basis like this. We will have a rollerblade marathon. We'll tell you all about that. And the true athletes, I think, are the wheelchair marathoners here today. They have remarkable stories to tell.
There's no question about that. Now they're under an hour and a half. They have high-tech equipment. They train hard. They're endorsed. They're sponsored.
Oh, what those guys do.
The number of elite marathoners in all three divisions will help this event to become more prestigious every year. Earlier, we talked with two Orange County athletes about the importance of making this inaugural event a successful one.
First of all, I've watched the wheelchairs evolve in marathoning, and they started out pretty clumsy and heavy, and they are very light and agile and built for racing now.
No, there's no question. Like you said, 15 years ago, the big Everest and Jennings chairs, but now look at them now. They've got wide wheelbases, the camber in on the wheels, and these guys can really roll.
And the Goodyear Orange County in front of you.
Exactly. Anytime that you have mechanical machines like this, we see Jim Knopf from Long Beach in the lead with Craig Blanchette right behind him, Doug Kennedy right behind him. Just lead to nearly a mile. That's the story to this point. We'll be bringing you further updates as the...
Just getting the opportunity to do the rollerblade marathon. They go the full 26.2 miles. It's interesting because a slightest pebble, a little rock, can send these guys down. You'll notice that a lot of them are wearing safety gear, helmets, and knee pads, but I'm glad we're doing it this year.
Well, they're smart, certainly, to wear that safety gear because, let me tell you, these guys are averaging about 22 miles an hour. They are going to finish this marathon distance in about an hour and 15 minutes, which means that they are going the same speed the entire 26-mile distance as Carl Lewis averages in a 100-meter race. As you said, they have good safety gear. They're called inline skaters, for those of you who understand rollerblades. These are a little bit more sophisticated pieces of equipment. But just in the last year or so, this has gotten very popular. They go upwards of 100 miles, and they have criterium over 10K and 10 miles. So this is really an event that's come into its own. Very exciting, very fast.
And it's one of probably the fastest exploding sports in America right now. You see it everywhere, all across America, on the highways and byways. The guys with the skates all in a line, inline skating and rollerblading, and they're going to marathon here today. I'll tell you, Dwight, if you live in the Southern California area, this sport has absolutely exploded. Little kids, senior citizens, everybody is inline skating nowadays. And today in Orange County, serious athletes, the marathoners, and they are off and running with 26.2 miles to go.
You know, Mike, it seems as though the popularity of inline skating seemed to arrive the same time Wayne Gretzky did in Los Angeles. That very next Christmas, a lot of kids were out playing hockey on the street with rollerblades, the first generation of rollerblades, and now this has really gotten into a level where these guys are extremely serious. The top 20 finishers or so will all be under an hour and 20 minutes for the marathon distance.
I think what you'll see here is the breakaway pack. The serious skaters will jump out in front because it is really more or less an hour and a half sprint for these guys. They go full bore. They pace themselves, of course, but it's a very fast pace that they keep. And there you can see they form a single pace line. By doing that, you can serve 30% more energy just by falling back in line.
These are some of the most cooperative racers I've ever seen. For about 26 miles, they will follow this pattern. The lead guy will be up there for 400, 600 meters, maybe a half mile, depending on his energy level. Then he'll just drop back to the back of the pack or somewhere in the middle of the pack and let the guy right behind him lead the pace for a little bit of time. The whole idea here is that they don't think a marathon is very far. They're just going to go out there, push the pace, try to be under an hour and 15 minutes, and then sprint the last 200 meters or so. So it's a really cooperative effort amongst these racers.
Here's one of the problems, though, Dwight. Little things like railroad tracks, little pebbles on the street. Some racers have already gone down back at the starting line. So you can see they have to deal with other obstacles that the normal runner or maybe even the wheelchair people don't have to.
Probably the only good part about that is that you want to try and stay low. You can see there the bend in the knees, and you're always looking down in front of you for those little nemesis, those little rocks, those little cracks in the street and railroad tracks, as you said.
Inline skating, all part of the Goodyear Orange County Marathon. At the 6-mile mark, they were at 18 minutes They're on pace for a 1 hour, 15-minute marathon. That is flying, Dwight.
It sure is, Mike, and John Loudon was leading at that point, but here out of the pack comes Jim Risacco, and some people might think, oh, he's going to try and break away. That would be ridiculous, especially this early in the race. He just decided, hey, I've got some energy. I want to push this thing a little bit. We're doing well. This is a good course for a fast time. And the rest of the athletes, you will see, will cooperate to catch up with Jim, and then we'll get back into their rhythm. He just thought it was time for a little bit of a push on the pace.
And you could also notice some of the inline skaters now passing some of the wheelchair athletes out on the course, some of the slower wheelchair athletes on the course right now.
Well, there was 5 minutes difference between the start of the wheelchair race and the inline skaters, and the world record difference is about 17 minutes for the distance, so we're going to see the inline skaters passing some of the wheelchair participants.
And you can see Risacco break away. The problem there is that when he goes on a speed surge, the others are going to have to chase him. Here's our leader, Jim Knopf, 3-time winner at the Boston Marathon, 2-time winner in Los Angeles.
And Craig Blanchette, you can see they got all the technical equipment on, the helmet, the disc wheels, the whole thing. That's why these guys are going so fast for the marathon distance.
Yeah, you can see the helmets. They are all built for aerodynamics. You'll see them drop their head down low to keep the stream of the flow of air as smooth over them as possible. They are true athletes and they're fun. Welcome back, everybody, to the Goodyear Orange County Marathon. The finish of the inline skate marathon did indeed come down to the wire. With a few hundred yards to go, the pack still numbered 10. They continued to draft, waiting for somebody to break away and take the lead down the stretch drive. Well, the pace did pick up in the final dash. Doug Glass finally is the guy that steps out and makes the break, everybody else realizing it was simply too late. Doug led the sprint, beating Curtis Labita and James Etheridge as they came down the final few yards to the finish line. Look at the leg speed as they sprint, as they dash for the cash. They finish at 1:15.16. He averaged just under 21 miles per hour, doing the mile average at under 2:52. And afterwards, Dwight caught up with Doug to talk about the rollerblade marathon.
I feel that it's going to become more like cycling. It's going to become an event that hopefully will make the Olympics. It's a real good spectator sport, and anybody and everybody can do it, from moms and dads to little kids to elite athletes are really involved in it.
Is the marathon distance less than a training distance for you? I mean, you said something about racing upwards of 100 miles.
Yeah, they do. The distances all vary. It's like a bicycle. I can't say I go out and train for 100 milers. I do long distance a couple times a week. I train on a bike, I lift weights, I run. I skate on conventional skates also, which helps. The conventional skates is a lot harder on the body, so when you get on inlines, it feels more relaxed, a lot easier.
What a story. He skates 26 miles, sprint.
They'll pick up the pace and reel him in if Knopf can't keep this steady pace up. A flat tire must seem like having someone riding on your back. This is a really tough break for Jim. Finish line is only 2 miles away after 25.5 miles.